Hey there! If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. I'll say that again. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast. Oh, yep, with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Now it's time for the Big Bad Broadcast.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Thank you.
Well, once again, welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast. We have some big bad comedians here with you today. We got Mike Grief.
Yeah, I'm bad. I'm bad, man. I'm bad. Yeah. Bad.
Craig Mitchell.
Hey, I'm big, but not so bad.
No, you're bad. You're bad. Trust
And
me.
we have Mr. Joe Silky, the mind reader, on location again today.
Wait, I'm getting
And
a message
now-
from Joe.
What is the message?
What's the...
I knew you were going to say that.
That's creepy, man. How did you do that?
I was thinking the same thing. He must have really transmitted his thought.
Yeah, I heard it too.
I'm telescopic.
You have ESPN?
Yeah, I got ESPN 1 and 2. 1 and 2.
You're psychotic?
So,
Well, that
Joe
goes
is
without
out
saying.
on location. Joe is on location again, and he's investigating Halloween this
Wait,
week.
is he with Eunice?
Yeah, probably with Eunice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
the trick.
Yeah, that's right. I'm with Eunice. Yeah,
I'm not paying for that double room, man.
Oh, she is in charge of the mail room.
Yeah.
MALE.
Oh, that's it. Or is he
Yeah,
in charge
he
of the
shuffled that
female
envelope.
room?
Well, he did send something, right?
He did. We have it, and we have it queued up.
All right. Let's see. Let's give it a roll. See what it is.
Halloween.
And now, the Bitchin' Baby Boomers Radio.com is proud to present to you, from the four corners of the world, some of the most unusual, interesting stories or facts you ever see. This is Believe It, if you want. Many of you have asked about the origins of trick or treating in Halloween, so here we have a reenactment between Tommy Jones and Frankie Smith, the inventors of trick or treating.
Hey Frankie, I want some candy. Do you have any candy? No, Tommy, I don't have any candy. So what are we going to do? I got it. Frankie, we will dress up in costumes because it's Halloween, ring people's doorbells and say trick or treat, and they'll give us candy. Tommy, you're a genius. Let us do this again next year.
And that, boys and girls, are why we trick or treat today and get free candy, all thanks to Frankie Smith and Tommy Jones. Frankie Smith and Tommy Jones went on to become the largest Halloween custom costumes manufacturers in the world. Here are some of the early costumes.
Man.
Those costumes are horrifying.
Oh my God! Well, are you kidding? What about the two kids in the beginning? Those kids weren't going around asking for candy. They were asking for money for heroin. Did you see
I
them
know.
two little kids smoking cigarette? Hey, you got the extra cash? I really need to shoot up.
I got
They
a
were
question.
like-
They can afford cigarettes, but not candy.
Yeah,
They were like
probably,
7 years old.
I don't know, 7 years old. They were probably smoking tree bark at the time. You know? We were glad to have it. You know, we walked 10 miles uphill in the snow.
Yeah.
We smoked
Yeah,
tree bark.
yeah, Tommy, we'll just rap on doors. We'll shake
You
them
sound
back
like the
for
chimpanzee.
candy.
Yeah.
You sound like the monkey from the joke. They're glad to have a penguin car.
It's a damn penguin car.
Oh my gosh.
Have those costumes. Well, are you guys doing anything for Halloween? Are you going to dress up? Or are you going to be?
I was just dressed up. Look.
I'm going to be a sexy nurse, I think,
There you go.
because that's just my life. I'm just like
I'm going to be a wide receiver.
All right. Anyway, well, we're.
Oh, all right. I am going to be performing my seance the night before Halloween.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And at the Italian American Club.
Oh,
I'm fucking.
And
I'm
where I was
jealous, man. I
told-
want to go.
Where I was told by
I'm
the
good too.
head of the Italian American Club, just scare them. That's all I want you to do is scare the hell out of them. So
Now, let me open for you.
So yeah, I went down to meet him the other day, and it seemed like pretty good. It seems like it'd be a pretty good gig.
It's the Italian American Club. You want to scare
Yeah.
everybody? Just walk out in like an FBI uniform or something. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Guess
Get
what?
up
You
against
didn't
the
actually
wall.
win these tickets. Every one of it's like that scam where the cops used to give out tickets, for the Super Bowl.
How funny was that? How funny was that? For the people that don't know this, tell them how they did this.
They would send. They knew people that had warrants out for their arrest, and so the cops would send out, things. Hey, you won, free tickets to the Super Bowl. You got to come in and collect. So these people come in thinking they're getting tickets to the Super Bowl or some other prize, and they'd be arrested on the spot. It was hilarious.
They fall
That's so
for it.
funny.
They fall for it.
Yeah, well, because they're not the brightest people.
You
ever.
think?
Crime don't pay, and it doesn't think too much either.
Oh man, I used to. You talk about stupid stuff, stupid criminals. There was a story that I covered a while back of these two guys that were robbing a 7-Eleven, and the one guy's supposed to get the masks, and the other guy forgot the masks. So they went into 7-Eleven and they brought Sharpies and colored in their faces. And they walked in and they robbed the place. And then they were walking down the street because they couldn't get the stuff off their face and got arrested.
Oh my god! Except it wasn't Sharpie.
It
wasn't Sharpie. They were highlighters. There was like yellow and pink, and
No, I'm gonna have to take that out. I actually have a picture of them. I mean, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. They just drew these masks with black magic marker.
With a raccoon gang.
The raccoon gang.
I mean, we're going to talk about this, but I'll tell you another one. This is my other favorite one. A guy walks into a bank.
Guy walks into a bank.
Are they two Jewish guys?
Guy walks into a bank and he passes a note to the teller that says, "This is a stick up. I need all the money in the drawer and the drawer next to you. Do not hit any false alarms." So the woman gives him the 2 bags of money. She hits the alarm. The cops come. He writes this.
Yep.
Of his probation card.
You got to repeat that, John. You're frozen.
With his name. Oh, I said he prints the note on the back of his probation card.
Probation card?
With his name, his address, and his phone number on it. And she goes, "I think this is the guy."
I think at that point it's like the guy wants to get caught. You can't be that stupid. Sometimes people want 3 hots in a cot. They want to get caught. If you're printing this is just on the back of your probation card.
I know it's just hard to believe anyone would be that stupid.
I was actually in a bank in East Meadow. It was a chemical bank. They don't have them anymore. When it got robbed.
Really?
We didn't even know what happened. We're standing online. All of a sudden, the teller was like, "Oh my God, we just got robbed!" It turned out to be my friend's mother, who I didn't know at the time. And that's it. We never saw it. We had no idea.
Remember that huge shootout at the North Hollywood bank? Remember that whole? Actually, a friend of mine was there, man. You talk about freaking out, man. I don't know if you remember that, John, but these guys went in with automatic weapons and they were
armor-piercing bullets.
And just it was like they based that shootout in that. What was that movie with De Niro and whatever on that thing, Heat or whatever it was called?
They did.
I think so. I don't know. It was
There's
crazy,
a great documentary on that. It's scary as hell, man. I mean,
these guys are walking down the street with machine guns, just freaking shooting.
Yeah. Well, my ex-wife's grandmother was a painter in England. Pretty, not like world famous, but very famous in Europe. And she was sitting there with her easel and she was painting this landscape, and it was like tracks in the distance and stuff. And this guy came up to her, and kind of well-dressed guy. And he said to her, "Are you almost done with this painting?" She said, "Yes." And he says, "How many more days you got?" And she said, "Oh, today's the last day. I'm just finishing up some things." And he said, "Okay, great." The next day in that field was the Great Train Robbery.
Oh, really?
It's a true story. How funny is that?
English, cool. I thought it was this in the hedgerow country there? Yeah.
But yeah, she said it was definitely like some gangster that was casing out the place.
Oh shit.
I mean, I don't think she could have painted their pictures that quickly.
It's funny.
Did you see anything? Yes, I actually have a photo.
You think of England, they're so polite there. It's like, it's they actually waited till the woman was done with her painting to rob the train or bank or whatever it was.
Yeah, they are very polite there. When they have sex, they go, "I believe I've arrived."
I believe I've arrived. I've arrived on your face. No, that's I'm arriving. Excuse me.
I do believe that's Hawaii.
I believe you. I believe you went too far, Jeff Zabrowski. All right, let's change the subject. Do you guys remember the first concert you ever went to?
The first?
I do. I remember
the concert story that you had?
The first concert I ever went to was Todd Rundgren and Utopia, which is you don't think of that classic rock and roll experience, but it was an incredible concert. So, but I wanted that hard rock. My second concert was Black Sabbath, and there was a riot afterwards. I just remember, we were a little, we had partaken in some
urbanly challenged.
Oh yeah, man! Are you kidding? It was like at that time it didn't. If you handed me something, I was taking it, I was smoking it, I was drinking it. It didn't matter. And I just remember coming out to my car and there's a riot going on, and it spoiled me forever because now every concert I ever went to, I was like, "Where's the riot, man?" This sucks. There's no riot at this concert.
That's so funny, Craig.
Well, okay. So I have permanent hearing loss and tinnitus because of this concert, and because it was the loudest concert I ever went to, and I have a story about it. But can you guess? Well, I'll tell you the story first. It was
The Who.
Loud. Huh?
The Who?
No. I went to this concert and my ears were like bleeding. I mean, seriously, it was like it was so loud. It wasn't music. It was like just pain. And I was herbally enhanced as well at that time, and maybe a little bit of alcohol. I was a mess. Anyway, so I left. I figured I'll go out and come back. First of all, they wouldn't let me back, but I did go out, and I went into my car, and my ears were just like. I just ate a whole bunch of M&Ms until I threw up outside the car, and when they all came back and went, "What the hell happened out here?"
The throwing up improved your hearing.
No, but that's just a sidebar to the story. But can you guess the band? You're not going to believe the band. It was
part of the Bay City Rollers.
Partridge Family.
I said the Bay City Rollers.
I'm gay, but not that gay, John. Seriously. No, you know who it was? Marshall Tucker. Marshall Tucker.
Oh man, love Marshall Tucker.
Yeah,
love the Marshall Tucker.
Dude,
band.
I still have ringing in my ear today because of them. Thanks a lot.
I find it hard to believe they were so loud, man. Because Marshall Tucker's mellow kind of music,
I know, but they were. I don't even remember where I was sitting, but man,
maybe it was what you were on, Craig. Maybe it was the stuff,
The stuff, yeah, that's what it was.
Can't you see? Can't you see? Look at that. And the Rolling Stones. It must have been the Rolling Stones. It's John's first concert.
I'm much older than you guys, so
we know.
Really?
I have seen some groundbreaking concerts.
Yes.
The first concert I ever went to in my life was
Beethoven. Beethoven, play your Sixth Symphony. Yeah, the lighters. Johnny's deaf. He's deaf. Shut up.
A candelabra. There you go.
Oh, man. That was the second one. First concert I ever went to was $6. It was at the Singer Bowl where they used to do the tennis matches in Flushing.
Jeez.
And this was the concert. Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company.
Wow.
The Chambers Brothers.
Nice.
They were the headliners that had that song "Time Has Come Today."
Yeah, that was a great.
That's in every movie you've ever heard.
Marilyn Chambers there.
And the co-headliner was Jimi Hendrix.
Damn, what a concert.
And Jimi Hendrix, I'll never forget this. This is the way he opened the show. He came walking out, just walks out with those two guys with the afros this big. The band of gypsies. And he comes out and he goes, on the first day, God created the universe. On the second day, he created the stars. On the third day, he created the universe. And he goes through the whole thing and he goes, and on the seventh day, he rested. Because on the eighth day, he created Jimmy.
I'm starting to think that Hendrix never actually read the Bible.
And then my other classic concert was I saw the Who do the Tommy concert for the first time in America at the Stony Brook Gym for $7. And of course, the ultimate concert was Woodstock.
Geez, my sound just went crazy. I remember the movie, man. I saw the movie Tommy.
I always wanted to see the Who. Never saw them.
I've seen them a couple of times. I saw them in Shea Stadium with like I said, the Clash opened for them. And the Clash was a loud band, but you could hear the planes going over Shea Stadium when the Clash was on. But when the Who was on, you could hear nothing but the Who.
Real quick, what was the worst concert you ever went to? Real quick, don't have to make a big thing out of it. The worst.
Well, actually, it's sad to say, but it was Van Morrison, and it was not too long ago in Vegas. It was just before COVID in Vegas, and it was like I was so excited because I love Van Morrison, and he played a lot of his hits, but he played them in a whole different style and it's like I want to hear you play your stuff, you know, the way I remember it.
All right, you, John, what's the worst one?
I don't really remember going to any really bad concerts.
I know they're all.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I've seen the Rolling Stones 3 times. And we talk about the Who. I saw the Who at Woodstock. And it was an amazing moment when in the rock opera, when Tommy regains his sight, it was the sun came up over the valley.
Oh, nice.
Wow. And Peter Townsend goes, as the sun comes over the valley, Tom regains his eyesight. And it was amazing. It was just an amazing thing.
I remember I saw the Kinks 3 times. I've seen Elton John 3 times. You don't think of, but Elton John was a hell of, I mean, I'm talking about the old
Elton
music,
John is
before he went Disney.
Elton John was the only concert that I would have really loved to see.
Me too.
Oh, it was
amazing.
amazing.
I saw 10 years after in a classroom in Albany. And there's Mick Jagger calling me now.
They got this new thing you can do, John, and that's turn the ringer off.
I have my phone off.
The worst concert. I have 2 concerts that are tied. I went to see Chicago at Belmont Park, and
it was not like Chicago.
Wait, it was when they were introducing their disco album.
Oh, okay.
It was called High. Yeah, and people got so pissed they were throwing turf at Peter Cetera. He actually got hit with a big piece of sod. It's never shooting gallery.
Better turf than turds.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's
the other one
though.
was Christopher Cross at Radio City Music Hall.
I love Christopher Cross.
He came out with just an acoustic. No, and he just played his whole, his whole catalog acoustically. It was the most boring concert.
Really? I mean, was this at the point where he already had Arthur's Song and Sailing?
Yes.
And
yes,
I can't imagine him being bad, man. Christopher, he almost died of COVID recently.
Yeah, he got better. I heard.
Yeah, but
I opened for Chicago.
I love Chicago,
and
you should be in Chicago. You look like somebody.
I got to the concert, and got to the sound check. And they had literally this Westbury Music Fair where we know it revolves around. Yep. And they had literally a spot that was this big by this big in the middle of the equipment. And the guy goes, "You're a stand-up comic, stand there." And I said, "This isn't going to work." And he goes, "Obviously, man, you don't know rock and roll. This is how it works. You don't know what it is like to work with a big time rock band." And I turned to him and I went, "Shut the F up. I've been the opening act for Crosby, Stills and Nash for 10 years. You're going to move this crap back." Nice. And the guy went, "Do you know Hoover?" That was their Hoover. That was Hoover, who was their road manager. And I said, "Of course I know Hoover." And Hoover would never let me stand in a place
and
like
he was
this.
Great in Animal House.
And they go, "You know Hoover?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "He knows Hoover. Move all this crap back."
Oh, nice.
Pays to know Hoover, man.
I have a vacuum like that.
So just if you ever get for a rock band, I'm sure there's a guy named Hoover in every group.
That's it.
I love Chicago's my favorite band, but it was just so. It was just terrible.
It's
And
just
also,
so funny.
America went on first, and they kicked their ass.
Oh, come on! How can you not? Every fucking song America has was a huge hit. Almost every
and
song.
So we were all hyped for that, and then Chicago came on and they started doing this disco
Yeah, but
stuff.
Chicago is like one guy from the original group and then some impersonators.
No, it was back when they had Cetera.
Okay, well now it's a bunch of impersonators.
Well,
that actually sound as good as the original band, but they're not.
But you have Robert Lamb, you have Pankow, who you remind me of your younger pictures, especially. You look like him, and they have Walter Paradolizer, and they have Lee Loughnane. They're still there.
Here's a question: What are the most underrated bands? I mean, like obviously years ago, you had all the huge name bands, but then there were the bands that had every song was it like I said, the Kinks. I sort of there were bands like that were so and people today don't even know who they are. Toto. You know who's I think I love
10 years after.
ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. Jeff Lynne. Every friggin' thing that guy touched was a huge hit, but yet, just amazing.
I'm gonna probably lose my gay card for this, but ELO made the movie Xanadu. They were great. They had great songs in that movie.
I don't remember the movie Xanadu. I don't think I saw the movie Xanadu. So
it's Xanadu. You're straight. That's why you have to
baby. I want you to. Wasn't it ABBA? Xanadu.
Yes, that's ABBA.
So the other two groups I opened for Devo.
No,
we are not men.
I opened for Devo on their Conveyor Belt tour.
Did they have to make you? Did they make you wear that little hat?
Yes, and they're the most normal people. No, I didn't wear the hat, but I was there when they got the hats.
Whip it.
The guy went to Target and came back and I found these red flower pots. We should wear them on our heads.
Hey, talk about that. Probably nobody knows who Devo is anymore, but that song "Whip It" was like the biggest hit in the universe.
Song.
Yeah,
but this is cool. You guys probably don't remember this, but years ago in food stores, they'd have conveyor belts. So they would load up your groceries into the bag and they would go out on the conveyor belt. So when they got rid of them, because kids were riding them and getting killed, Devo bought like 4 of them and had them on stage. So they could just stand there and be weird and go in and out where the guy would just control the conveyor belt.
That's great stuff.
And it was very cool. And they were the most normal people I've ever worked with in my life. They were from Akron, Ohio. And they go, hey, how does this look? And they would just do some weird mood and they'd all start laughing. They go, yeah, let's all do that. You know what I mean? Backstage, they were like students,
right? They were like students. And,
college kids, which was great. And they had a pretty good run, man. They had a pretty good run. Well, listen, enough about us because we got a great start today on our show.
Cool.
We have a guy,
I hope we get to talk about a lot of dead people.
Well, the two of us go way back, and unfortunately, a lot of the comedians we know are no longer around.
Oh no.
But yeah, he's.
We have video,
You can call me a dick.
Yeah, well, wait a second. He's an old friend. He's guy's done everything. He's really like the Renaissance man in show business. He's done animations. He's done sitcoms. He's done movies. He's done video game voices. He's got like 100,000 followers on TikTok. And he's just an amazing guy. And I've known him for many, many years. And it's the high energy of Mr. Fred Stoller. And I think we have a videotape just to show you a little bit of who he is and what he does.
Yes.
We do. Here it is.
How does he do it?
And what's this behind your ear? Just some sweater fluff.
Well, would you mind walking me through the quantum flux illusion?
I can't disclose the secret in the presence of a non-licensed magician.
Hey, Fred. Foot fell asleep.
You're lucky. At least you got something to do.
Now! You say it just like I do. No, I don't. Just try it again. Now! It's the same. It isn't. Yeah. Now! This isn't about me, Gerard. Well, knock it off. You're really annoying. Radio Rusty. Me? On the radio? I can't do that.
You all laughed at me. You said my sandwich pressing method was too extreme. But you're wrong, and now you will taste my vengeance.
Oswald, this is an awfully long line.
Hi, Oswald. Ooh, I can't wait to see Sammy Starfish. Hey, Daddy-O. Hi, Michaela.
How are you, Fred?
Not too good. My wrist is a little sore.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but not as bad as my shoulder.
Oh.
And my thumb hurts when I bend it back all the way.
And it's a great pleasure to bring on an old friend of mine. Let's introduce Fred Stoller.
Thank you.
Welcome, Fred.
Thank you.
There he is. High energy, Fred.
Florida.
So Fred...
You're in Florida?
No, you guys are, right?
No,
they're in California. I'm the only one in Florida.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
We're with you.
So
We're on the West Coast.
all right, so we're going to ask you some basic questions. So you're originally from New Yorker because all good comics are from New York. We all
From my
started in
generation.
New York.
Yeah. Brooklyn, yes.
Brooklyn. And so when you started, at what time in your life did you decide, like, I really think I should be a comedian? I want to be a comedian.
Well, I was surprisingly very depressed and shy and not funny. So it wasn't something I grew up thinking I was a comedian. What happened was I knew early on the real world wasn't for me. I was paralyzed with fear. What am I going to do? I'm not going to be an architect or a dentist. I wanted to be I liked acting, but back in the 70s, it wasn't savvy now where you could watch YouTube videos or behind the scenes. How do you break in? I used to like weird character actors I'd see on TV, like from the Bob Newhart show or Good Times. But I had no idea. I thought to be an actor, you had to start young, like an ice skater,
Right.
But then I have a sister, she's 6 years older, and I was underage, and we went to did you ever do Pips in Brooklyn?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a comedy club. Actually, before the comedy boom started, that was the first paid gig before all the Long Island places. So I went, I was underage, and this was 75, I think. And Richard Lewis and Billy Crystal were the comics before they made it big. And I didn't really know much about stand-up, but I remember Billy Crystal did a bit about his kids and season Nick tickets. I was going, wait, this guy, I don't know him, and he has season Nick tickets? And I wasn't a comedy aficionado, but one of my sister's friends explained there's a place called The Improvisation, and people like Freddie Prinze and Jimmy Walker did their act there. Then they go on the Tonight Show, then they're on a sitcom. I go, oh, that's how you do it. So I really...
it's so easy. That's how you do it.
So I pictured being on the Tonight Show going, this is only my second time doing comedy. And so I was pathologically shy, but I put together this stupid act where I just listened to albums. I thought you had to be from a bad neighborhood. I listened to it was god awful. I tried for a few weeks when I was 17 at the Improv, and it was too painful. And then when I was 20, I returned saying, again, that's the only way I knew it to get out of Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. I was from Sheepshead Bay, to get into this world, the circus, show business like the circus in the town. And I'd hang out. There was a woman, Judy Orbach. I still am in touch with Facebook. She ran the Improv. Sunday nights was audition night. I wasn't one of these guys that went to all the little clubs. I just wanted to go right to the Improv. And
go right to the Tonight Show.
Right to the Tonight Show, yes. And I'd wait online, and like Steve Buscemi was called Steve Busey. He tried being a comedian, and
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. People like Barry was online with me. This guy D.F. Sweetler, people like that would be online, and then I did my act, and Chris Albrecht, who ended up being the head of HBO, used to manage the Improvisation. He said, "You're allowed. Okay, you could hang out." So I'd take the D train from Sheepshead Bay. I still lived at home, and my mother was so freaked out to be hanging out. She couldn't understand I was a comedian. A lot of my jokes were from things she said. She goes, "I'm not going to tell people you're a comedian. I'm going to tell them you're retarded." That was easier to tell. I couldn't deal with telling people Freddie's a comedian. It made no sense. So she said there was something wrong with me. And so I just developed an act with my head down. I couldn't look at the audience, and I'd make mic nooses with the nooses with the mic cord, and just do weird things that happened to me, and start developing this morbid act. And actually, the first time I ever got paid money, there was a place. Do you remember, John, the Jade Fountain in New Jersey?
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't believe the guy handed me $15, but I remember I didn't understand. I saw the late Bob Woods, Jackie Martling, and Dave Hawthorne. I thought they were really a team because they were brought up, and then they did their own.
They were almost a team.
Yeah.
So I
the weed team.
Hung out in the New York clubs. People like Keenan Ivory Waynes ran it on Tuesdays. There was Gilbert Gottfried, the 80s, George Wallace, and then the Long Island club started opening, and they called them the Bridge and Tunnel crowds. But I kind of was not lucky, but I kind of survived because my act was so low key and subtle. I never had to headline in New York. I just could make a living running around doing 15, 20-minute sets. So, the thing is, Long Island, I remember, no one had cars hardly. If you had a car, you'd get so much more work because, you take comics to you meet at the Improv to New Jersey. I remember once.
My sister when my sister worked for Messina, this comic sent her a headshot, and for the headshot, he sent her a picture of his car.
Yeah, he put that on their resume. Yes, I remember that. Yes, there were guys that weren't good, but they had old beat up cars, and you'd meet at the Improv. So remember, this guy was a headliner, John Mulrooney, and I remember someplace I don't remember in Long Island where you have to wait, and I remember I'd bomb. And then I'd walk outside because I couldn't stand to hear Mulrooney blowing the roof off the place, and then this place turned into a disco after the club, and Mulrooney is dancing with the people. I bombed in front of, and I want to go, and I'm waiting, trying to get late, and he's dancing, and I'm waiting for my ride. Oh, it's so ridiculous.
I remember you and I did a gig in the Hamptons.
I remember it vaguely. Did I have to? Maybe I took a train.
No, you and I were in a car. Somebody drove.
But I think I had to take a train to the East Side Comedy Club, and Messina drove us.
Yes. And what reminds me of remember this whole thing. So I remember a lot of your act from way back then. So that's pretty impressive.
Wow.
I remember the thing about my dad went out for milk. He came back 7 years later.
Something like that,
yeah. And it was about you had a dog, no, and
Right.
I did certain lines. But I remember at that time, you had a ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, this for a while, I bought this thing that was Mortimer Snerd's girlfriend. I found out, and a ventriloquist puppet was just it was just a joke, bad ventriloquist. I don't even remember what I did. But there's a place.
You danced with it.
Yeah, more than a woman, and I'd hold it up.
Right.
See, he remembered, John. He just didn't want to say it.
Oh, there was. Is Governor still there?
Yeah, Governor's is still there.
So Jackie Martling used to, run it, and I put the puppet back, and then this guy got on stage, which is a violation, and he took the mic stand and smashed the puppet to death, and then I was freaked out. I just left, and the guy said to Martling, I have no remorse. I was tripping. I thought the puppet was moving. Like, why is that a rationale to kill it? Because it's moving, you got to kill it. So I was very heartbroken. And Martin put up the money. We took it to a place called the Doll Hospital, but they couldn't fix it. And so
I need an IV of wood glue stat. You know?
Yeah, so there was some good memories in Long Island. Of course, started with Eddie Murphy, but there was some of those places that were. But again, I could always get off the stage because I was never the headliner, so it wasn't as hellacious as it might have been. I mean, but there was a place I bombed my ass off called Ferns in Roslyn, New York. Do you remember that place?
I do remember that.
Yes, I bombed so badly.
I just remember you always standing out because you were such a contrast from other comics.
Yeah,
it didn't always go over. My niece now lives in Belmore, where there was the brokerage pub.
Yeah, still there.
Oh wow, not the same. No, Gary Smith sold it, huh?
Yeah, he sold it, but it's still the same club.
I only did Chuckles once. Is that still there?
No, Chuckles is long and gone.
And
then there was what was that? The Jimmy's Comedy Alley.
And Jimmy's Comedy Alley. That was Queens.
Yeah, it was Thomas.
There was the Rainy Night House.
Yeah, I did that with Bartlett and Eddie Murphy. That guy Vic was a good guy. Yeah, I remember.
He was a really good guy.
Eddie was the. Yeah, I remember Long Island when Rosie O'Donnell was starting. Eddie, of course. Nelson, Bob Nelson.
Long Island is such a great breeding ground for comedy.
I always tell a story that Eddie was opening for me at Eastside. My dad came to the show. We're driving home in the car, and my dad goes, "That black kid's going to be really famous. He's really funny." And to the day my dad died, he thought he discovered Eddie Murphy.
John used to taunt the black people who worked at the staff. He was a racist. I'm just kidding. You look like a scary, QAnon guy, but you're very liberal. I appreciate it.
I am very liberal.
He looks like a guy at a sports bar that would have the Confederate flag. And
John and On. He's part of John and On.
What if I look
John
like
and On?
If I look like that, what does Mike look like? My bodyguard.
Yeah, no, it's Long Island. Well, the sad thing was that Eddie did this bit where he'd say "scream out the N-word," but he'd really say it, get it out of your system, and they're screaming it, not because they really felt it. It was actually what happened was, I did this. Did you ever do the Fort Lauderdale comic strip?
Oh yeah,
I did it with Rob Bartlett, Eddie Murphy, and Bill McCarty. Right before Eddie got Saturday Night Live, and I remember that Rodney was in town, and he came by, and he saw us, and he broke Eddie's heart. He goes, "You're going nowhere with that inner shit." Well, because Eddie would open with that, and he said to me, "You took too many liberties," and so yeah, I don't claim I got Eddie Saturday Night Live because he would have got it anyway. But I said, they need a black guy because Charlie Barnett, who passed away, was the black guy, but he couldn't read, so they needed one. So he would have. I don't claim he got it because of me, but then he got it, and there was a place Bob Woods booked in
Yonkers.
Dubonnaise. I bombed. I never bombed.
That was a rough crowd. Dubonnaise was kind of a rough crowd.
Yes, Dubonnaise. So, do you ever come out to L.A. and visit Rick Messina's compound and see all?
No, I don't really hang out with Messina, but I come out to L.A. and I do the Magic Castle every once in a while.
I remember one time, I don't know why, but into my 20s, me and my sister used the accountant my parents used. And we once went to one place in Long Island that was god awful. The guy was an idiot. And we went to some beefsteak Charlie's, and the late Hal Spear was there with Hawthorne, and they were so stoned, and they freaked out that me comes into the place with my family, and
Hawthorne stoned? I can't imagine that.
It's hard to believe.
Dave Hawthorne stoned?
I remember once I did a gig with Hawthorne and Woodsy in some place at the Jersey Shore. We walked in and the club owner got all nervous. And we go, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "We're the comedians." He goes, "Oh, I thought you guys were here to wreck the place."
But I used to hang out at Messina's compound back in years ago with you remember Jimmy Labriola, and we go down there and hang out. I forget which it was, one by Jerry's Deli in where was that, Sherman Oaks or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell he lives now, but I haven't seen. Last time I saw Rick was at we put on a memorial for Monty Hoffman, and Rick was very gracious. He paid for the food and stuff, and just
right.
There was a little memorial for House Beer at Cantor's a few years ago. Dom Herrera was there, paying respect. A few others. I guess the older we get, the more people we lose. Yeah,
I know.
Who
So,
else?
besides comedy, you're an author too, right? You've written 3 books.
I had a few books. One called "Maybe We'll Have You Back: The Life of a."
Yeah, what is that one? Can you tell us quickly about what these books are about? Because I've seen them. Maybe We'll Have You Back is the first part of every comic's life, right?
Well, the guest star life, like never being a regular, but going from show to show and hoping to keep you on, and
that's my life.
They bring you back. So that's the guest star life. It was a memoir. I did a Kindle single called My Seinfeld Year. I spent a year as a writer on Seinfeld, and another one called 5 Minutes to Kill, which I'm doing the audiobook now about
the Young Comedian special, right?
Yes. I was on the 1989 one that had 2 people who made it big, David Spade and Rob Schneider, but 2 people sadly died who were on it. No. Rob Schneider and David Spade. Oh, yeah. Drake Sather and Warren Thomas passed away, who were on it. And Jen Karam was on it, who you'll have. So these are people, they were the big showcases before Comedy Central and Netflix, showcasing the new young comics.
Yeah, that was show. Boy, if you did well on that show, there was.
Well, that was one of the things that inspired me to be a comic. I remember the Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian Specials, and it was long before I started. I started in about 88, 89, and just watching you guys do that and going, these are just regular, wow. It's because I was like you. I didn't think that's impossible. These, was somebody else. It was, impossible for a guy like me. But when I saw regular people, being just hilarious, I thought maybe there's a chance. And it's one of the things that inspired me to get on stage, was seeing guys like you.
Yeah, he used to do them at Dangerfields, and other people started hosting it.
Yeah, I remember the highlight of one of those was Kinnison, because no one had ever seen anything like that.
Kinnison and Dice Clay. Nobody ever heard of Dice Clay.
One. Oh my God.
And Bobby in the background yelling, "Get off the stage, you suck a shit toy in the middle, you."
Every show ends up talking about Bobby from Dangerfields.
That's right. That club finally closed, I think.
Yeah, finally went down. Crazy stuff.
COVID killed Dangerfields when we all thought cocaine would kill Dangerfield, but
and you were on Everyone Loves Raymond. You played his cousin.
Yeah. Right. You do a good Ray Romano impression?
What? Oh, we have Fred Stoller. Fred Stoller's here today. How are you, Fred?
That's very good. Yeah, Kevin James was on an episode with me. I guess he started probably in the Long Island clubs after I left New York.
Yeah, like 89.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I came out here in 88. Yes. Wow, he rose pretty fast there, huh?
Yeah, I was doing it for 2 years, and Joan St. Ange booked us into a college, and he only had 5 minutes at the time, and he nuked the joint in 5 minutes. I'm sitting there going, "Oh, this guy's going places." He just destroyed.
Well, even after he, and this isn't a put down, but even after he was doing, King of Queens, he didn't have 45 minutes of stand up to go on tour with.
Really? Oh.
He had 30 minutes. So he used to have Minervini do almost an hour before
Really?
Wow.
And yeah, because Richie would absolutely kill, and he would come out, and everyone would be happy because they saw the big star, Kevin, and they would just leave going, God, that was really funny because Richie was really funny.
Wait, now that I think of it, what's it called? The Hamptons. I think I took a train from Grand Central. I remember I worked with Mitchell Walters, Alan Stephen, one of those guys, and they said he adds a whole new dimension to Judaism when he described me. I don't know what he meant. But, it was I think it was Alan Stephen I worked with, and maybe another time in the Hamptons or.
Yeah, Rick loved that room. That Rick booked it. He used to come out for the weekend in the Hamptons.
Oh God, I played a club in the Hamptons one summer. We did it was called CPI, Canoe Place Inn, which was it was huge. They had rooms. One was a disco, a jazz club, a comedy. It was held thousands of people. And I remember going on in between Harry Chapin's dad's band.
Oh,
wow.
God.
I remember the 80s in Long Island it's always like Jerry Cooney came by, all that nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember when Jerry Cooney wanted to kill Jeff Zabrowski. I was there for that show.
Everybody wants to kill Jeff Zabrowski.
That should be a sitcom instead of Everybody Loves Raymond. Everybody wants to kill Jeff Zabrowski.
Wow, it makes me stabby.
When I think of 70s, I think of Billy Joel, that Long Island kind of music,
Yeah.
When he used to do more ballads before he did the hits.
Right.
Those Italian Restaurant. My depressive 70s teen years, I think of those depressing Billy Joel songs.
Isn't that funny? How many comics are just, people think you're just this fun-loving guy. Wouldn't it be great to hang out with a comic? But we get off stage and we're like, where's my razors, man? I'm going to sip on myself with a razor on my wrist.
I remember doing Governors of Chuckles, and it was Steve Scrovan, and, he went on to be a very successful sitcom writer, but a very quiet, thoughtful guy, and someone else quiet. And we get in the car.
Like D.F. Wheeler would be one of those guys.
And someone goes, "You're the comedian. What's the pisser to be in that car?" And it was. What did you say, John? That I was depressed or neurotic. What do you remember about?
I just remember your act was I just remember you were very different because you were very vulnerable on stage, and you were and it was really refreshing because it was different. Like everyone from Long Island was
Oh, someone else remembers this. Kevin Sullivan with Guitar Act.
Right.
I think it was him. I don't remember this, but he said at the East Side between shows, I would sit in a cemetery next to it. I don't remember that.
Oh, there was a cemetery behind the club, but you never did that.
There was?
It's a great place to meditate.
Yeah, no, that's bull crap.
Yeah,
but I do remember him saying that. Yeah, Freddie Stoller's meditating in the cemetery.
Hey, it's a great place. It's a great place to dispose of a body.
Yeah. You mentioned D.F. Sweedler. I just want to say one thing. You talk about people. I had a car. I picked up everybody in the world at the Improv. And Gary Grant used to book me in there and goes, "You're picking up D.F. Sweedler." And I did several shows with D. He goes, "DF will give you gas money." He never gave me gas money. So one time I brought him up.
The club, the booker, Gary Grant should have done that.
I know.
So when I brought him up one time, I was really pissed. I go, "Please welcome DF Swindler."
Is Gary Grant, does he still manage Bartlett? That was such a
I don't know. But, that was always a weird one, But apparently when Bartlett was really sick, and I guess, he was really sick for a long time. And Gary took care of him, paid his bills and everything. So, that he kind of redeemed himself. But remember, that was like the mystery. Why is Bartlett still with Gary Grant? And then we used to do Rascals. Remember Rascals in West Orange?
Yeah. West Orange,
Jersey, of course.
Yeah, West Orange. That was another ride. Tony Camacho would pick everyone up in that fancy van.
God, not to be morbid, but I'm surprised there weren't more accidents. There was one guy, a black guy, I liked him a lot. He died. Mark Ferris,
yeah.
very sad.
Really funny guy.
After a gig, just coming back, and but there was one guy, Don Ippolito. He's, I guess, sober now, but I remember, like, I don't like you drinking. You're driving me back. He goes, walk. And but, yeah, there was one guy, Jeff Justice.
Oh,
Jeff
Guy,
Justice.
he got
yeah.
so drunk, and I wanted to. I was supposed to drive his car, but I didn't know how to do a stick shift. But he was smart enough to know he was really drunk and shouldn't drive. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I remember the favorite story coming back with who was the guy from Saturday from the story won't make any sense. Who he's ran for president.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He'd have him standing in a friggin' lake with dead fish. What was his name?
Not Pat Paulson.
Pat Paulson. There
Pat
you go.
Paulson. So it was me, Martling, Pat Paulson, Martling, and probably Hawthorne coming back from his job upstate New York. And we were coming back, and it was started to snow. And we hit this ice patch, and the car did a 360, and we went right off the road.
Oh,
And we're sitting there, and Pat Paulson looks at us and goes, you guys should be really pissed. And we go, why? He goes, tomorrow's paper almost read, Pat Paulson dead with 3 others.
Me and John Mendoza, we on the LIE, we started spinning once, and I thought we were going to get killed, but something happened. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. Yes,
I haven't seen Mendoza in years.
I saw him a couple of years ago at Vitello's. He was doing comedy with Wendy Liebman.
I saw him at Mike Reynolds Memorial. You remember
Right.
Mike Reynolds?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, another one who I guess didn't want to be around anymore. A very troubled guy, Larry. It was so funny because, it's a memorial. Well, I shouldn't say because she's going to be on your show, but everyone was trying to impress Larry David, and comedians were getting up there, giving their credits to the host, like, say, I've been on this special. They're memorializing Mike Reynolds, who took his life, and they're trying to score with the crowd and work in the crowd, doing their bits.
Yeah.
God.
Oh God, I know this.
John lost connection. He'll be back.
He'll be back. But comedians have no shame. I mean, yeah, it's like, it's just, I guess it's that attitude. It's like, first of all, I mean, most comedians I know are either alcoholics or drug addicts or massively depressed, and so it's like, what have I got to lose? Let me,
right.
Hey, John.
I got logged out.
Back, John.
Yeah, those Long Island days. Yeah.
We were talking about you, John.
Probably.
It was all good.
Nothing good.
At Mike Reynolds Memorial, all these people were telling the host what to say about them, their credits. They were doing their act. They weren't really memorializing him. They were trying to score because Larry David was in the audience, or they wanted
that
stage
happened.
time. It was at the Improv.
That's so funny because the same thing happened at Monty Hoffman's memorial. We had, because Messina was there, Tim Allen was there. We had a whole bunch of, and you'd see these guys getting up and to say, here you are supposed to be talking about, but they were doing their act. There were guys coming up doing, it's like, it's like, you want to just shut up, man. Have some respect. I mean,
That's unbelievable. I've never experienced that at one of these,
The most bizarre thing I ever saw in my life is when I went to Bob Wood's wake. And it was just so weird. I mean, I've only been doing comedy a little bit, but seeing all these incredibly funny guys, Martling, you, and everybody was sad. I've never seen. It's just so weird.
Yeah, it was very funny because Woodsy had a big following on Long Island, so that church was packed. And I remember we were the pallbearers, and it was a kind of a side joke because Jackie used to do this act in this joke in his act that was. So these 6 pallbearers are carrying a casket down a flight of stairs. It's snowing. They drop the casket. It slides across the road, goes into a drugstore, hits the register. The lid pops open. The guy sits up and goes, "Can you give me something to stop this coughing?" Right? And every time he would do that, Woodsy would go, Jackie, you stupid bastard.
That's a great joke.
So we were coming out of the church, the 6 of us, carrying the casket, and it starts to snow. And Bartlett turns and goes, "Oh shit, we're in the joke."
We're gonna have to name this the episode of death.
How does the joke go? These guys, pallbearers, and they go down the steps.
6 pallbearers are carrying a casket. They're going down the stairs. They slip on the ice. They drop the casket. Slides down the block, across the intersection, into a drugstore. Hits the register. The lid flies open. The guy sits up and goes, "Can you give me something to stop this coffin?"
All right. I got a friend that loves all these stupid jokes. I don't remember that one.
What? Got to go back into our archives, man. We had Jackie. Jackie was on a bunch of episodes telling all his jokes.
What was the one my friend just told? Why do high school girls only like odd numbers? Because
Why?
They can't even.
They can't even. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. So what do you got planned in the future here?
I'm doing an audio book of this one of my 5 Minutes to Kill. I'll put that out. I got some voiceover animation stuff coming out. The pandemic getting through, just doing cameo, and I'll do something if someone wants me, but I'm tired of chasing.
We're all in that same boat.
I've been semi-retired for 25 years. Someone said, my life is like we're like millionaires without the money, or semi-retired, just hang out at the market, farmers market. It's like a table on Fridays that some older people, a lot of people died. George Siegel used to hang out, Jack Riley from the Bob Newhart Show, Paul Mazursky. Alan Havey goes there. This character was so, what's his name? What the hell's that guy's name? I'm at that age, I can't think of names,
Did he play? I can tell you his name, I bet.
He didn't play anything. He was a comedian that reminds me of Joe Pesci.
Alan Bursky.
Once I said reminds you of Joe Pesci, you figured
he was on the Partridge Family.
The reason why I know this is every time I'm working at the Magic Castle, Bursky calls me up one day and goes, "Come on, we're going to the farmer's market."
Just for edification, Bursky was on the Partridge Family. He played.
He was. Yeah, we have a clip of it. He was the opening act for the Partridge Family on the Partridge Family,
right?
And
did he kill Keith?
His deal was on the show that
he killed Keith.
He couldn't perform in front of an audience because he would be too nervous. So he has them all in the house, and he does his stand-up act, and he's actually pretty funny on the show. I was surprised.
He is so much like Pesci, It's funny. Like, it's not funny, but the story is sort of funny. But one time, the late Pam Madison, remember her?
Oh yeah, I used to really like her. She was really nice to me.
Yeah, I was at the Improv with this guy. I mean, you would know. Maybe people at home wouldn't. The legendary Wid. Oh, he's great.
Oh yeah, we love the Wid.
I love him. Oh, he's great with the puns.
Love the Wid.
Me and him were describing another guy that's not around, Vinny D'Angelo, who I did a movie about my friendship with. He was from the Philly scene, the local Philly scene. And me and Wid are going, he's a character. And she goes, wait, you guys are calling someone else a character? So only in this business could I call someone else a character, like Bursky,
Bursky's a character.
Yes, well, I know I am too, but yeah, just this.
Well, it's so funny because Bursky, I guess, for one time, I guess his credit is, and they're legitimate, he's the youngest guy to ever do the Tonight Show,
right?
Which he lets you know within 3 minutes of meeting him. And he worked for William Morris for a while. But the weird part is, my daughter is a pretty successful playwright now. Wow. And I'll go to these meetings like at one of her openings, and it'll be all these big people from Hollywood and show business in the Broadway scene there. And they'll always go, "You're from Long Island?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "Do you know Alan Bursky?"
Really?
And everyone knows Alan Bursky, which is so weird to me. So just when you think he's like not telling the truth, like all these people like just know Alan Bursky. It's very funny.
Yes.
I'm running low on Coke. Call Alan. No.
It's amazing. Some of these people are still around. I think Jim Balazos is still alive.
Now is he alive? Oh yes, but he had a brain tumor for a while or something.
Yeah.
Because Zabrowski called me up and said that's why he doesn't bug me.
I'm spacing on his name. How's Jiffy Jeff's Jim? What's his name?
Bob Nelson.
Bob Nelson. Jeez, how can I forget the name? He's struggling now with cancer, right?
With something like this with Bartlett, like a little, trying to do like a fundraiser. But yeah, that's sad. I mean, he when you think of like, I guess it was a long time ago, the 80s, but since it was our seminal years, it feels like yesterday. But how politically incorrect he'd go, the black guy, the boxer. I'm a boxer, whatever that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many
things. It was a football player. He did the football player, and he did all the different characters. And
right.
Bruce
but if you think about it, the comedy scene in the 80s, half of the stuff we couldn't do today anyway.
No. Well, there was Kevin Sullivan. He did a bit, Whites
in Manhattan never reaching the train.
Negroes that mug them, take their gold chain. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I saw her face, and she's a retriever.
That maybe you could do. That's that. But yes, there was. Oh, I didn't remember that. Oh, I saw her face, and she's a retriever. It was so stupid, those song parodies. He used to do, I didn't want to do it, but I got too lonely. I had to blow you up in the middle of the night. She's just a blow-up doll. Oh, she's not the real thing.
I loved working with Kevin. He was so funny.
And what was really funny back then, too, is Barry Mitchell with his accordion.
Oh, yes.
He was pretty funny. When he did that thing about how every cop should carry an accordion, and then he'd play this music. But he had great song parodies. His were really good. Remember, he did the Billy Joel song "Only the Hig Fu Young."
Oh, those song parodies.
He's my cousin, right?
Who?
No. Oh, Mitchell. I see that.
No, I'm kidding. I made up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he had a good gig for a while on the news or something, some late night thing. That's right. He's from the island.
Oh, yeah, he interviewed my daughter on that show.
Yes. Well, wow, you must be so proud. Like, congratulations, I see.
Yeah, she's really killing it, man. She got like a 7-movie deal or something.
Get out of here.
Wow, you got finished doing Woody Allen, right?
It could be at my funeral, and all the comedians could try to impress her. My memorial. Make sure she has a seat. Yes.
So it's very funny. I was reading some stuff about you, and it's like knowing you physically, and you did a character called Rusty the Wrench, which sounds like a mafia guy.
Yeah. Now that was a preschool show, Handy Manny, Tools That Talk.
That's better than Rusty the Trombone. We don't want that character.
We actually put together a little clip of your stand-up and of your animations that we will show.
Yeah, we showed that. We showed it before.
Cat is here. I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, there he is.
I don't know what she finds.
I have my cat too. Hey, Andy, you want to see a cat?
Oh no, she just slipped off the thing.
And Fred Stoller was a big sensation on TikTok too. He had like 94,400 followers or something.
I got sick of it.
But he used to, and that's why we kind of touched base again. He was on. I mean, it was during the pandemic, right? And you were just trying to stay relevant, as you told me, right?
Exactly. That with Cameo, just doing, yeah.
See, at least you were relevant at one time. So we don't. I don't have relevancy. I'm trying to break into mediocrity.
You hear that, Chloe?
You did a lot of TV shows. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've done a lot of, but nobody knows who the hell I am.
You? What about me?
I'm like what Fred said about his book. You know, I'm the guest star, the co-star guest star. I've done, I don't know, 85 shows, and you know, but that's just it. I'm the guy who comes in with 3 or 4 lines. You know, if you get lucky, a couple scenes, whatever. But that's it. You know, so you come in to a cast when Fred knows this. You come in and everyone knows each other. They work together every week. They've been together for maybe years. And you come in and you have to be really funny, you know, right away. And it's great. It's a great living, but you know, that's the whole thing. The dream is to get that reoccurring or
I know.
series regular, and you know.
Yeah, but like me, I'm the guy who always I've been pinned more than a college girl. I've been pinned for an audition, but I never get asked to the dance. So you're good. You did good.
I love the thing. You're on hold. You're so.
Well,
is that
that is my dog barking.
My dog?
That is my dog barking.
Oh,
and I don't
good. I'm
know
glad because
for.
sometimes it's just in my head and I'm not sure.
He liked that Kevin Smith song, didn't he?
I don't know what's going on.
Is he a retriever?
Oh yes, Kevin Sullivan.
Sullivan, that's right. Kevin Sullivan. Sorry.
She's a retriever.
Kevin Smith was a fire eater. Sorry.
Yeah, Kevin Smith. He looked like Ben Laden.
Yeah,
I don't remember him.
He was a fire eater, and he was like crazy. Now that's your dog, or are you doing that?
I'm doing it.
Oh.
No, he's just letting gas out.
I had all those dog treats. Yeah,
it's like my song parodies, but it's like, but I can't sing, so. And I never did them as part of my act, so.
Well, thank Fred for stopping by and spending some time with us. I hope you had a good time. We love having you.
Absolutely, and now I have StreamYard ready to go.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm ready. Right. Unstoppable now. I have StreamYard.
That's right. What are you, man of mystery, right? Is that your new character?
Yes.
All right, we started talking about your TikTok thing. You had like live thing every night. And people
I was during the pandemic trying to sell things, and I got tired of the same questions. Hey, I don't know. I got tired.
It's so funny. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, it was great hanging out with you, Fred. Thank you so much.
You too. Fun stuff.
Let's have a big round of applause for Fred Stoller.
I guess I'll leave the studio. That awkward thing, like, not out yet.
All righty. Well, thanks again. Thanks again.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen, that was the amazing Fred Stoller walking down memory lane with me. Good guy. And hey, if you want to see our shows, go to the Facebook page. Big Bad Broadcast.
The Big Bad Broadcast.
Well, we had some kind of special today that happened. We kind of got into a jam after the show.
Yep.
And if you want to learn a little bit more about what we have done in our careers, Fred kind of inspired it. You can come to. We can come to what is that?
That's right. That's where I'm going to put the address on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Right there in between the fingers is where the address is going to go. We're going to have something different today. We're going to have an after hour party. Not easy to say.
Show. Yes.
And get to learn a little bit more about the three of us, what we've done in our careers, because we were jealous of how much Fred did. So, but you can see us on our website, which is www.thebbb.radio.com, or you can go to our YouTube page, which is the same address.
Right.
And
Twitter, which is BBB Radio Podcast.
Yeah, don't look for us anywhere else because we're not posting stuff there.
All right, guys.
I was going to say Instagram and all that stuff, but I haven't posted anything on there. Okay, yeah, TikTok. Yeah, I'm doing TikTok. Everybody.
I got a couple of ticks. There you go.
All right. So anyway, listen, I can't take any more of you guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Hi, I'm Rusty Trombone. How are you doing? All right.
Please remember to like, subscribe and ring that bell. Thank you.